Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would chat with you guys a little bit about something that always comes up in the topics. It seems like every time I do a video discussing hypertrophy, such as getting a bigger back, building your triceps, building your hamstrings, any of these things, these topics of muscle building, people always chime in with, I thought you didn't care about bodybuilding, you're not interested in bodybuilding. And to me that seems such a strange thing because I'm talking about hypertrophy. I'm talking about gaining muscle. I'm not talking about dieting down to 4% body fat. I'm not talking about taking diuretics, putting on fake tan oil, learning to pose, posing in posing trunks. It would be nice to not call them panties. Posing in posing trunks on a stage. Like, none of that was brought up. So, to me, it's always puzzling when people think that you're talking about bodybuilding, right? Because that doesn't really make sense, does it? We all lift weights to gain muscle. Even powerlifters should be spending most of our time focused on hypertrophy. Why? Hypertrophy raises your strength ceiling. It raises your strength ceiling. It raises your performance ceiling. Where do people think you get force production from? So let's say even you're lifting weights to have a better punch in boxing. Now, I'm not saying that will teach you how to punch. Obviously, you need enormous amounts of skill work and practice, for any combat sport. But where do you think force production comes from? The neural drive is only maybe 10%. Obviously now practice and technique and all that, they do matter for those things. I mean, no reasonable person's going to deny that. Okay, so let's make sure that we understand that. But where do you think your force potential comes from? From your muscle fiber thickness. That's not a controversial statement. This is well understood in exercise science, right? So isn't that why we're all training? Isn't that why we lift weights? It's to gain muscle. That's the whole point. And people say, well, I'm doing it for this or that, to look good. Well, yeah, because you want to build muscle. Because the physique that you think looks good, and this includes even for a lot of women who want to be just thinner, you go look at that model you're looking at, she's gained a fair amount of muscle mass from resistance training. Okay? They're confusing not having muscle with being lean, and those are two different things. Maybe you want to raise your metabolic rate through lifting. Maybe you want to lower your cancer risks. Well, that's all building muscle. That is building muscle, and the techniques that build the most muscle are going to do that. Okay? If you want to have a higher metabolic rate and energy turnover from working out in the gym, you should be focused on building muscle with the majority of your training. Not saying every single thing you do, but it should be the overwhelming majority. Most of what you do in the weight room should be geared towards that. Okay? If you want to have a really big total in powerlifting and you want to be able to do it long term with the lowest risk of injury, all the best coaches know this. You want to do it more than a decade, you better be focused on building muscle, laying down new tissue, right? Muscle, tendons, everything, bone density, all right? We're building tissue. That is what we are doing. That's what we're doing. We're building tissue. We're trying to gain muscle mass and other lean body mass as well, because that's what, quote unquote, makes you look more toned. That's what helps you burn more calories and more fat. It's what helps stave off cancer. That's what gives you the higher potential based upon, again, your genetics and your nervous system for a better punch or a better kick, right? Not saying it makes it automatic. It raises your potential for it. Okay, what do you think makes a sprinter have the most potential for force production? Most sprinters do really heavy squats, and they do a lot of rep work for legs. They build leg muscle to help them sprint. Okay, what we are doing in the gym should be focused on building muscle. And so it seems weird to me that, when you bring that up, people are like, I thought you weren't about bodybuilding. Well, I'm not. It's not bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is a competitive endeavor. So I want people to understand that too. When I have an issue with bodybuilding, I don't have an issue with a person saying, hey, I want to look better naked. Okay, that's fine. That's not bodybuilding. A person says, I want to be more jacked. Well, that's not automatically bodybuilding. Are you going to diet down and pose on a stage? Are you going to get shredded after you get jacked to a temporary level of body fat that you cannot maintain? Okay, if it's maintainable, you're not competing in bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is a form of competition, right? So it's just like, it's people have these areas so divided up in a weird way. So, you talk to someone about getting stronger on their bench press or their deadlift, and they're like, well, I'm not a power lifter. Well, you don't have to be a power lifter. There are tangible benefits, and they can just be cool to have a strong deadlift. Okay, you know what? You walk around and then bros stop and ask you how much you bench, bro. Because if you look jacked, you look like you lift, you better have a good number to give them. Okay? That mean you're a power lifter? No. But it's just like, hey, being strong is cool. Being strong is useful. So just because you focus on getting stronger doesn't make you a power lifter. So we come back over to the point. Saying, hey, I just want to get jacked, that doesn't make you a bodybuilder. And I think that's where the confusion happens. I'm all about guys saying, hey man, I want to be jacked. Right? I'm all about a woman saying, you know what, I want to look good in a bikini. More power to you. There's no problem with that. That's all good stuff. Okay? So my issues with the bodybuilding are the extremes of the competition and the unhealthy subculture it's developed. Okay, it's not because tell people they shouldn't want to be jacked. If you want to get jacked, I think that's great. I think it's awesome. Get jacked, bro. And that's what we're talking about, because we need to be jacked. We need to be stacked if we want to be strong. Because I am a strength coach, right? We have to get strong. And to get strong, we've got to get as big as possible, right? And if you want to be strong in a weight class, you better have as much muscle and have your body fat low enough to a reasonable level that it's not impeding your strength, but it's not adding surplus weight. So even for strength sports, we're still looking at body composition. We're looking at getting jacked, and we're looking at having reasonable body composition. So yes, we're going to talk about building muscle. If anything, it should be our primary focus. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.